fucked up shit, okay? Tonight, we are going to be visiting WrestleMurderia! Coming at you.
Let's rock.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Thank you for joining me here tonight. My mic working? Yes, it is working just fine. This is perfect.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Let me tell you something, brother, because you have just entered WrestleMurderia live stream from PubliclyBuzzed. I hope I'm saying that right. I was practicing beforehand. It's not a real word, not that it matters, but WrestleMurderia! WrestleMania 3 is the one that always comes to my mind from Vince McMahon when he says it out loud, but I'm trying to match that with WrestleMurderia! Welcome in, everybody. I'm losing my mind, as you can clearly see. Sadly, we don't have Dandy Savage here tonight. Dan got another headache before we went live, sadly. He went and seen a doctor. I think he's going to be taking some prednisone for the next 10 days. I told him he should maybe actually see if he can get in with like a neurologist, like jump straight to seeing what the hell's going on. But yeah, he's had some headaches, and he usually doesn't have that. And yeah, not happy about that. So no Dandy Savage here tonight, but we're going to be going over some wild stories from the pro wrestling world. Again, what does pro wrestling and true crime have in common? A lot of fucked up shit, quite frankly. It is an insane world of pro wrestling, or the wrestling world is insane, I should say. But yeah, I've got a list here of stuff to kind of go through, and some side stories that aren't on here, and a very new story as well. We'll probably start with that one. Let me get a picture of him up here as well, because this gentleman appeared at WrestleMania 3. He faced a guy by the name of Hercules. His name is Billy Jack Haynes. We'll start with this guy, who has now been charged with the murder of his wife as of February of this year. Welcome in here, guys. Let me get the chat in here. Boom, and see who's hanging out with me here tonight. Donna's hanging out. Susan's in the house. Dizzy's in the house. Wild Size in the house. Hit that like, guys. Share this out. Let people know that you're hanging out with PubliclyBuzzed here tonight. It really helps us out. Lil Love. Carrie. Hell yeah. I know Jay sent some folks over here earlier from his stream. MJ. Everybody. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. City Kitty hanging and banging here tonight. Pro wrestling fans. Okay. And a little bit of a different stream. Not sure how many true crime people are going to click that thumbnail. But whether, it's just facts. Pro wrestling is littered with absolute insane stories, and I'm going to go over a few of them here tonight. Miss Deanna, he's hanging out as well. Welcome in here. Stevie Irwin hanging out as well. Welcome in here, guys. Thank you very much for coming through. I really appreciate it. Looking through here. Oh, yeah, there you go. We got a Bob, got a Steve, got a Dan, and a J-Head. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, let me jump over here real quick, and boom. This gentleman right here, Billy Jack Haynes, okay? So Billy Jack Haynes appeared at WrestleMania 3, faced Hercules. I think this was March 29th, 1987. It's not a great match, but again, it was a different time period in the 80s in professional wrestling, but it is good. It's decent, as you can see right here. An alumni from the World Wrestling Federation on the grandest stage of them all, wrestled in front of 93,000 people. Former pro wrestler Billy Jack Haynes charged with murder in wife's death. Portland, Oregon. I've seen a lot of people mentioning Portland wrestling in the chat. Portland wrestling is so fucking good from the early 80s and even to the late 70s. And I haven't seen a lot of the late 70s stuff, but I was fortunate enough to be able to see a lot of 81, 82, maybe even into 83 when Piper was there. Brett Sawyer was there. But a former professional wrestler, William Albert, Billy Jack Haynes Jr., was released from a hospital Wednesday afternoon and taken to jail on murder charges. Haynes, who wrestled, and he came from Portland wrestling, okay? Back in the old days in wrestling, and I'm talking even to the early 80s, before Vince McMahon Jr. bought it from Vince McMahon Sr. in 84 and made it, and basically teamed up with MTV for WrestleMania 1 and made it the conglomerate that you see today. That's why it is what it even is because of music television from 1984. So before that, we had just little territories all around the United States with wrestling. Portland was a hot one. Wrestlers would jump all over the place. They were in Texas. They were all over the United States, in California, down into the Carolinas, into the Virginias, Tennessee, the Midwest, everybody. There was little territories ran by promoters all over the United States, and Portland was no different. Portland wrestling was a hotbed for professional wrestling in the 80s. Roddy Piper, famous, one of the most famous wrestlers, who actually got into movies as well and television, came from Portland wrestling before he got famous. Haynes, who wrestled with the WWE, then the WWF in the 80s, was taken into custody earlier this month after a reported shooting at the home in Portland. On Thursday, February 8th, police were called to a home in the city's Lentz neighborhood, spending multiple hours trying to contact a man inside the home. Believing he may have been armed, authorities asked those in the area to shelter in place. Roughly 2 hours after police arrived on the scene, the man later identified as Haynes came out of the home and was detained. When officers got into the home, they found the body of Haynes' wife, Janet Becraft, 85. Her death was ruled a homicide by gunshot wound. Yes, a photo here of Janet. Haynes, 70, remained in police custody while being treated at a local hospital earlier this month. Portland police had said in a statement that Haynes' hospitalization concerned a medical condition unrelated to the homicide or his contact with law enforcement. Upon his release Wednesday, Haynes was booked into the Multnomah County Detention Center for charges of murder in the second degree and unlawful use of a weapon. Haynes had started his professional wrestling career in 1982 and again in Portland wrestling, but began his stint with WWF in 1986. And again, WrestleMania 3 was 1987. He didn't last a long time in the World Wrestling Federation either. And honestly, he didn't even get deep into the 90s before his life pretty much started to fall apart. And into the early 2000s, in the middle 2000s, maybe even to the 10s, he was homeless at one point in time. And I know that he had a pretty rough life, but, no excuse for murder. And a lot of these guys, professional wrestling, call it fake, call it whatever you want, but a lot of these guys do sacrifice their bodies and put their bodies through hell. And yeah, a lot of brain damage, a lot of head injuries. Look at Chris Benoit. What he did was absolutely horrific. Killed his wife and his kid. And they said he had the brain of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient from the incredible destruction that he had done to his cranium throughout his professional wrestling career. Let's just look here just for a second on old Billy Jack Haynes here. See what they're saying.
Our WWE star was in court and has been arraigned in the shooting death of his 85-year-old wife.
Fox 12's Drew Marine, William Billy Jack Haynes' arraignment, and she joins us now live. Drew?
Piper rules.
He's facing unlawful use of a weapon and murder charges today after the alleged shooting led to an hours-long standoff with Portland police earlier this month.
Next matter is going to be page 22, line 3, Mr. Haynes.
Former wrestling
It was a big deal. Christmas Day, Thanksgiving had a big event.
Our William Billy Jack Haynes appeared in court for the first time Thursday after being accused of shooting and killing his 85-year-old wife, Jeanette Becraft, who neighbors say was struggling with dementia. On February 8th, Portland police responded to a shooting at a home in the Lentz neighborhood. They say Haynes was arrested after an hours-long standoff, and then they found a woman, now identified as Becraft, dead inside. Now 70-year-old Haynes used to star in the old Portland wrestling promotion that aired on KPTV and went on to wrestle in what's now known as WWE in the 80s.
There's some Portland footage.
He and Becraft were known by neighbors as Billy and Jan, and neighbors we spoke with the day of the shooting say they were shocked to hear the news.
A great community around here, a lot of veterans that are in my dad's vet as well, and so was Billy. And I did love him dearly, and we loved Jen as well. So, yeah, but yeah, this, like I said, it's a tragedy all around.
Haynes' trial is set for April 11th. Live in downtown Portland,
it's coming up.
Marine,
See if I can.
Fox 12.
the thing is, he's not famous. He hasn't been famous for 30 years, and no one really even covered the story. I think I made a Twitter post about it, but it isn't even that, outside of professional wrestling. It's not leaking over into the normal depths of true crime like the Vince McMahon story just did, and it's a horrible story as well. But this one didn't make its way into the mainstream eye. But yeah, a crazy one. I got another one here for you that isn't on this list as well. A guy by the name of Dino Bravo. Dino Bravo wrestled at WrestleMania, multiple WrestleManias, I believe. I know he's at WrestleMania 7. Let's look him up here for WrestleMania. A lot of you guys probably remember this guy. Big, strong guy. Again, on television in the late 80s, early 90s in the WWF World Wrestling Federation. Big motherfucker. Canadian, from Montreal, Canada. Again, known as one of the strongest men ever, really, in professional wrestling. Well, coming about 1992, his career was kind of coming down, starting to wind down a little bit. And he was going to be losing his job at the World Wrestling Federation. Yeah, here he is. Actually, he's going to be facing another man that died actually shortly after WrestleMania 7 as well. Both these guys, I believe, died in 93, if I'm not mistaken. But Dino Bravo his career was winding down, basically. And there wasn't a lot of places you could go and get work if you're losing a job with World Wrestling Federation and you're depending on that money, that type of money. Independent work for professional wrestlers, especially at this time in the early to mid 90s, was garbage. Hot garbage. Terrible. You could do a little bit better today even. But, hey, what's up, Heather Honey? Welcome in, everybody walking through. I appreciate it, guys. He was going to be losing his job. So he had a big house. He drove a Mercedes. I believe that's about to say this in this article as well. He liked to live a nice life, and he's not going to be breaking in all of this money that he's used to from the World Wrestling Federation and living this celebrity-style athlete life, whatever you want to say. So, in one of the most chilling and tragic stories in wrestling, Canada's own Dino Bravo went from the squared circle to becoming involved with the mob. He would end up losing his life as a result of it. The tragic story of Dino Bravo. Dino had painted himself in a corner. He tried to stay with the WWF, but he just couldn't. Vince McMahon didn't want to have him back. I remember I called Pat Patterson, who was a higher up at WWF, right hand of Vince McMahon, basically, until he died even. And I suggested that I team up with Dino because I liked him. And this is, I believe, this is Rick Martel talking, another wrestler, a Canadian as well, I think from Montreal also, who was trying to help him out. And he's like, listen, can we keep him on? We could tag. I said, I'll take the bumps, which means the falls, and I'll do all the moving around, and he can do the strong stuff. I'm sure we can make it work. He said, no, we just don't think that Dino fits any of our plans anymore, is basically what he's saying. Dino liked the high lifestyle. He drove a sports Mercedes. He had a big home, and suddenly wrestling was over. Dino couldn't be a 9-to-5 guy. He didn't have any business experience of any kind. Wrestled since he was young. A lot of these wrestlers break into the business super young, and when they do get out of it, not all of them. Now wrestlers will get degrees and stuff. Back then, it was pretty rare for a professional wrestler to have any kind of other skill, okay, or any kind of other, or much less a degree, or even just regular skills. They just knew pro wrestling from a very young standpoint, and then when that starts to dry up, if you're not one of these mega stars that's making millions of dollars, you can end up in a real spot. Wrestling was his whole life, and back then WWF was the only game in town. So if he couldn't do it for the WWF, what could he do? His uncle by marriage was the head of the mafia in Montreal, and he was always saying, Dino, come work for me. The Catroni family was a part of the Bonanno crime family, branch out of Montreal, one of the 5 families that dominate organized crime activities in New York City and beyond. And here he is, super young right here. This is 78. Okay, 15 years before this, right? Ricky Steamboat, famous wrestler. Dave Meltzer, in his book, adds a little more background to the story of Dino Bravo. Within wrestling, it was often rumored that Bravo's name was linked to the Montreal underworld. Hit Aunt Maria was the wife of Vic Catroni, who had a reputation of being Montreal's leading mob godfather. Dino Bravo often worked as a chauffeur for Paul Catroni, and a relative of Vic's, reportedly a member of the powerful underworld family. Rumors only got stronger for Gino Brito. His partner in several businesses, including the local regional wrestling office, was arrested as part of a loan sharking ring. Rick Martel continues, I remember we were in Europe and he confided in me, Rick, I know I could go into crime and make really good money, but I don't want to go that route. I know myself and I'm not that kind of guy. Or I know the kind of guy I am. Referencing that he's not that kind of guy, right? Dino was the kind of guy who always wanted more and more. He knew himself and he knew that his demons, but then his debts and lifestyle got too much. I remember the breaking point for him was when he had to go and borrow from his mom. That was too much for his pride to take. And back then, in the early 90s, the illegal cigarette trafficking in Canada started. A lot of people were doing it, so Dino got into that. He went to see the Indians. The Indians had the river, so they could pass cigarettes across like crazy, or arms, whatever. And the Indians were big wrestling fans, you know. So when they saw Dino, they were like, oh man, they started dealing strictly with him. So Dino had a monopoly with the Indians. Wow. He started doing really well. After a while, the cigarette business was doing so great that the cocaine people started saying, hey, maybe there's some money in there for us too. So the big cocaine guy apparently went to Dino and said, look, let me in on your cigarette deals and I'll let you in on some cocaine deals. So what apparently happened is they did some kind of agreement. Dino had a $400,000 shipment in some warehouse somewhere, and it stayed there for like 3 days. On the third day, when the cocaine guy went to pick it up, the police were there. So they were blaming each other. Dino was saying, you should have picked it up the first day, and it would never have happened. You shouldn't have let it sit there. There was a lot of heat on Dino. This was a week before he died. It was a Wednesday. His wife and his daughter went to ballet lessons, and he was watching hockey on TV. His wife found him that night. She had his daughter in her arms. Luckily, thank God, his daughter was sleeping, so she didn't see her dad. There was blood everywhere on the ceiling. It was horrible. They dumped 10 bullets in his head. One of the rumors spread over the years was that the shooter tried to shoot a happy face into the back of his head, which is absolutely terrible. Martel continued, there was no force of entry in his house. It was the winter, so you could see there would have been footprints, but there were none. Whoa. So they had somebody, an inside person, it was probably someone watching hockey with him, and said, hey, Dino, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And they shot him from behind. The detective told us that the remote control was loose in his hand. They say that if they shoot you from the front, you see it coming and tense your muscles, and he would have gripped that remote control tightly at some point. Oh, interesting. So he was just chilling when it happened. So they shot him from behind. He didn't see it coming. The homicide of Dino Bravo, real name Adolfo Bursicano, probably butchered that, is still unsolved. Bursicano's remains are in the mausoleum of Notre Dame des Négis Cemetery in Montreal, Quebec. Note, cigarette smoking is the illicit transportation of cigarettes from an administrative division with low taxation to a division with high taxation for sale and consumption. The practice commonly used by organized crime syndicates and rebel groups is a form of tax evasion. In Canada, between 63 and 79% of the price of a package of cigarettes is taxed. As of 2009, illegal cigarettes were believed to be $1.5 billion industry in Canada. Holy crap. And here's Dino bench pressing 715 pounds in 1988 at the Royal Rumble. Of course, I'm not going to be able to really show this. Try to watch this just here in little brief moments. Look at this motherfucker. Boom. Strong as fuck. Strong as fuck. Dino Bravo fucked up. He's like, man, I got into the wrong game, and then all of a sudden you can't handle all this pressure, and that's a big difference from the professional wrestling world. I can tell you that for sure. Oh man, we got a Dark Side of the Ring fan in here. Dark Side of the Ring is a great show. Also, I think I've mentioned that here before. And you got Ricky Steamboat. Yeah, we got some wrestling fans in here. That's awesome. Old school wrestling fans. Everyone in here right now, really appreciate it. Oh man, Bruiser Brody's story is insane. That episode of Dark Side of the Ring is insane. Hey, you didn't know I could speak French, did you, huh? When I'm going to go to Montreal and start rocking some French Canadian at these people. Holy crap. Any Letterkenny fans in here? All right. Let's get ready to rumble.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Huh? Doing it, baby. We doing it. All right, I do have a list here I'm going to go through with you guys also.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
Get in here real quick on this. See what we got here. Yeah, the Scott Hall one that I was posting. Hold on, let me get down to that one. So Scott Hall, before he became famous, one of the most charismatic men in wrestling history, Scott Hall, might have been one of the legends of his time. Again, if you know Razor Ramon from WWF, and then he went by his real name in WCW, Scott Hall, again, major factor player, major key character in professional wrestling in the 90s. Huge, actually. Scott Hall. Chris Duett actually was messaging me earlier. I should have hollered at him to go on here. I didn't have a lot of time with Dan. That just happened with Dan, but man, he lives he knows this whole area. He knows the area where the shooting happened, the nightclub. He said the strip club, is he still even named the same thing? And he also kind of knew the neighborhoods where Scott Hall lived in Florida. One of the most charismatic men in the history of professional wrestling, Scott Hall might have been one of the legends of his time. But his horrible personal life is what has kept him, which, I mean, they're kind of referencing there. He had a horrible alcohol issue basically up until the last few years. He's passed away, I think, within the last couple of years now, I believe. And it was a blood clot, I believe. After he'd gotten his life together, he actually got himself together. But yeah, he's had a lot of substance abuse issues throughout his life. But early on here, though most people know Hall's horrible addiction to alcohol and drugs, which reduced himself into a near-death stage at one point, not many know of him as a criminal, as he was involved in a murder. In 1983, Hall was charged with second-degree murder, and he had shot a man with his own weapon after wrestling it away from him. In an altercation outside a nightclub in Florida, which was a strip club, and he was a bouncer at this strip club, Hall said in a 2011 documentary how he was unable to forget the incident where he killed the man, which could be the root problem of his substance abuse. It's rather shocking to discover him having a part in one man's death, even if it was self-defense, because he did not have to. It was determined that this was justified, and knowing him to be a criminal could be crushing for his fans. And Razor Ramon, Scott Hall is one of, again, when I say that, we've talked about Billy Jack Haynes, regionally famous, wasn't WWF for long. Dino Bravo, more regionally famous, wasn't WWF for long, a little bit more famous than Billy Jack Haynes. Razor Ramon, Scott Hall is one of the top professional wrestlers of all time, probably, if we're just going to be honest. And Hall fatally shot 37-year-old Rodney Perry Turner outside the Dollhouse Strip Club on January 15th, 1983. Turner was a manager at the bar where Hall worked as a bartender. The confrontation between the two began when Hall arrived at the bar and Turner confronted him about allegedly having slept with his wife. Kevin Nash here talking about it. Turner had fatally shot another man due to a dispute involving his wife just months earlier. Wow. So he was already known to be trigger happy. A struggle over Turner's .45 caliber handgun. So Hall probably was like, oh shit, this motherfucker will shoot you. I got to get this gun. Ensued and led to his death, and Hall being charged with second-degree murder. The charges were later dropped, however. And here in March 2022, Hall was taken to the hospital after falling and breaking his hip. Following his hip replacement surgery, he developed a blood clot that led to 3 heart attacks. The 63-year-old was taken off life support. And, sadly, he did pass away. He is in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. But I posted something really cool. I found the little newspaper clipping and posted this earlier. He's also the thumbnail. That's his face on the thumb there. A little AI work, but that's him. Right here. Bartender charged in slaying of boss. A bartender at a topless bar in South Orange Blossom Trail was charged with murder Saturday night after a manager at the bar was fatally shot. And again, this is before Scott Hall was Scott Hall, or even Razor, or anybody. He started in Florida, really. Florida Championship Wrestling is where he started wrestling. Around this time, though, 84, I think, is when he debuted. So it was probably right after this. So his life could have taken a drastic change. Rodney Perry Turner, 37, Orange Blossom Trail, died when he was shot in a struggle over the .45 caliber handgun outside the Dollhouse. Scott Hall, 24 at the time. I'm going to look up that address. In Orlando, was charged with second-degree murder. A bar employee said the victim's wife had been seeing Hall and that the victim had threatened to kill them both. As Hall pulled up to the bar in his car Saturday evening, the victim confronted him with a gun, the employee said. In November, the victim fatally shot a man who attacked him after making advances towards his 19-year-old wife, right? Carol, we got a young wife he's overly protective of. The killing was ruled justifiable. And I'm going to look up that address. I want to see if that's the dollhouse. See if we can get a bird's eye view of that, huh? 730 in Highland Avenue, Orlando. It's like a neighborhood. Here's what I've got. If you could look up the dollhouse. The original Orlando Gentlemen's Club. Okay, this might get a little crazy. Hold on. Might get corn out the gate. I really just want the address. There we go. Dollhouse is Myrtle Beach. There's Tampa. Is it the Dollhouse? Orlando, Florida. Here we go. Here we go. So it'd have been around here, I'm guessing. I'm not sure what that address was. But Chris even said that it's the same name and it's still a strip club. So I mean, I'm imagining it was in this parking lot where Scott Hall murdered this dude who rolled up on him with a gun. Pretty wild. In 1983. Crazy. Crazy, man. It always blows me away the kind of life that these people have, man. Like how easy would his life, could he have ended up in prison right there, right? Like he ended up being a millionaire, right? Having a mansion here in Florida. Probably started off in an apartment somewheres. Almost got a little crazy there. Almost went too far. Almost got a little too crazy. We had to pull back. I just wanted the address. I didn't want any nudes. Dude, wrestling stories are wild. They're fucking nuts, man. They're crazy. Yeah, let me go back into this list here. There's another one that's pretty wild on here too. I'm sure you guys know New Jack. He wasn't WrestleMania. Hold on, I want to keep it specifically to WrestleMania. Holy shit. Okay, you guys have probably heard of this one. He's passed away now as well. But Jimmy Snuka, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I mean, basically, we know that he's basically murdered a lady in his life. Let's just read through here. Jimmy Superfly Snuka might be recognized as an icon in the 80s, was a highly influential for the likes of Bubba Ray Dudley, Mick Foley, Tommy Dreamer, but it seems like he was a disturbed man in real life. In 1983, Snuka had called for an ambulance after a taping of a WWE event, at the time WWF, when his girlfriend Nancy Argento had been found injured. But when she was taken to the hospital, she died soon afterwards, and later reports showed her to have some abuse all over her body. Snuka was the only suspect in the case, as it remained open at the time, but the lack of evidence forced the authorities to close it. It was reopened in 2013 as more investigation was put into the case this time. Snuka was charged and arrested with third-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter in 2015. Now think about that. How long is that, right? 83 to 2015. As he has been going through trials for it ever since, and much of it being delayed due to poor health. He basically had dementia, I believe is what was happening. What, did he? All right, did all this start creeping back up? And he's like, oh man, I don't remember. Fuck. His daughter worked for World Wrestling. I think she still works for World Wrestling Federation. World Wrestling Entertainment. By going by the evidence, it's rather obvious that Snuka murdered his girlfriend at the time, as this makes for such a huge dent in his reputation, as it's rather shocking to discover that one of wrestling's icons was actually a criminal and hiding all this time and getting the punishment now, almost 30 years later. Now let's look up a little Jimmy Snuka. Murderer. Eventually, a grand jury was impaneled, and Jimmy Snuka was charged with third-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter in the death of Nancy Argento. but he was never convicted for reasons related to his health. He ended up dying like shortly after. It's from 2023. That might be up. Here we go. When did Snuka die, though? Here we go. 2015. So he died like basically immediately after. No, hold on. This is the charges. Let me see. Hold on. Dead. 2017. So 2 years later, he died after they finally started catching up with him here. Jimmy Snuka, who rose to fame in the 80s as a professional wrestler, was charged Tuesday with third-degree murder and involuntary. This is always creeping around the wrestling world. I remember hearing this even earlier on. Nothing ever came about it. I think Nancy Argento's family kept making waves, and as the internet world, as we know it to now, it's rampant and wild, and shit always comes out. I think even back then they were starting to get it out there. And they were like, listen, something needs to be looked into, and then they found more evidence. So Snuka 72 was even booked. I think there's even probably footage of him being arrested. Messages left at Snuka's New Jersey home went unreturned Tuesday evening. Lingering questions about what happened to Argento, Snuka's 23-year-old paramour. So, yeah, he had a 23-year-old lady that basically, a lot of these wrestlers do, right? They meet young ladies. They go town to town with them. That's what was happening here. One of these girls that had become one of his girlfriends, and things got a little bit crazy inside this hotel room, I guess. Lingering questions about what happened to Argento, Snuka's 23-year-old paramour at the time of her death had long dodged the Fiji-born wrestler famous for his acrobatics. So here's something that's absolutely wild. So at the time, he played on television. Like, he was from the Fiji Islands, and he never really did promos. He really just kind of barked like, hoo, 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 hoo. You know what I mean? Like they treated him like he was a star. He was even a good guy. He jumped off the top rope with big splashes. For the time, for now, it wouldn't be as crazy because these guys do these crazy flippy things. But back then, it was pretty wild to see this guy jumping off the top of the cages and off the top rope on people and looking so smooth doing it. But he never really cut promos and didn't really even, maybe he doesn't speak English, right? Just that allure of professional wrestling. Even back then, Vince McMahon protected Jimmy Snuka from charges because he, when talked to by police, said he doesn't speak English. This man doesn't speak English. I'll speak for him. Like, the world's crazy. In May of '83, Snuka was an up-and-coming superstar in the fledgling World Wrestling Federation, now called WWE, which in those days taped matches in Allentown, Pennsylvania for television broadcast. According to Martin, Snuka, then 39 and with a wife and 4 kids in North Carolina, was staying in an Allentown area motel with Argento. On the night of May 10th, paramedics responding to a 911 call at the George Washington Motor Lodge arrived to discover Argento unresponsive. They were called there by Snuka. Argento was unconscious and her breathing was intermittent and shallow. Martin said in a statement her pupils were dilated and didn't move, indications of a head injury, and a monitor showed Argento had a fast heart rate, which indicated head injury and shock. Just a few hours later, she was pronounced dead, leaving only one person to know what happened. The autopsy report said that Argento had a skull fracture and died of cranocerebral injuries, something for which Snuka offered different explanations at different times. Okay. According to Martin, Snuka told investigators that they were fooling around outside the motel. Maybe I'm thinking of a different time period with him saying he didn't speak English. So maybe that's not it. Maybe that's a made-up story in wrestling. Honestly, I remember always hearing that. According to Martin, Snuka told investigators they were fooling around outside the motel room when she fell, or that she hit her head on the concrete while the two were wrestling, or that she slipped and hit her head as the couple were clowning around on the side of the highway during the bathroom break. Well, we had multiple stories. Red flag. Despite his evolving story, it was enough to keep authorities at bay. The family won a wrongful death civil suit against Snuka in 1985, but authorities never charged him. The family was discouraged. The evidence was there. Louis Argento, Nancy's younger sister, told CNN, but it got muddled because Snuka was a big star at the time, so they gave up trying. It was just too much. It was too painful, she said, especially for their mother. In the wrestling spotlight for the next 30 years as his girlfriend case remained cold, Jimmy Superfly Snuka enjoyed the career of a celebrity, retiring from a sport as an exalted legend, even becoming a member of the Hall of Fame. His aerial abilities and charisma made him one of the most popular superstars to ever set foot in the ring and jump high above it. But they don't mention him anymore. but it was one of the trappings of fame that ultimately led to Snuka being charged with murder in his autobiography. Many terrible things have been written about me hurting Nancy and being responsible for her death, and they are not true, wrote Snuka in 2012 Superfly, the Jimmy Snuka story. This has been very hard on me and very hard on my family. I will say this about the whole thing, brother. That night ruined my life. To this day, that is how I feel. What do you think about this? What about Nancy? For Louise and eldest sister Lorraine Argento, 30 years after they lost Nancy, Snuka presenting himself as if he were the victim was the tipping point. We had given up, Louise said. But my sister and I got upset when Snuka's book came out. Oh, he done fucked up. He done got these sisters pissed. That's when we called the DA. Martin directed his team to take another look, talk to new witnesses, and even introduce new evidence. Snuka's book. The grand jury heard experts from Snuka's autobiography in which he talked about his frequent use of alcohol, steroids, and cocaine, and wrote in 1983, my personal life started getting a little crazy. Based on all the evidence that was presented to the grand jury, wrote Martin, members concluded, it is our determination that the weight of the evidence clearly indicates that James Snuka repeatedly assaulted Nancy Argento on May 10th, 1983, and that allowed her to lie in their bed at the George Washington Motor Lodge without obtaining the necessary medical attention, and that his assaultive acts and his failure to obtain medical attention resulted in her death. And again, he passed away basically instantly after the charges, actually, after they started catching up with him. He lived his whole life still being cheered. He would still always show up to the events and still live that legend style life. So, wild shit, man. Professional wrestling is insane. Mountain Mama popping in here. What's up, Mountain Mama? 13 months. Wow, you're one of those deep ones. Holy shit, still my favorite creators. Oh, I love you. Thank you for that. You're the best. You've been here for a long ass time. Another West Virginia head up in here. That's what I know. Mountain Mama, baby. Hell yeah. Thank you, Mountain Mama. Appreciate that. 13. That's crazy. And Holly Berry has a baby. Yeah, baby. Ooh, I'm having a publicly buzzed baby. That's what I like to see. 9 months. Let's go.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
That's what I'm talking about. Shannon popping through here. What's up, Shannon? Thank you. I think I've seen one more down here. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
And then Missy Mayhem, 10 months. Damn, that's a big one too now. Damn, she just had a baby. Love y'all, fam. Look at that. We got some beers in there. Hell yeah. And got the lighter. We know what she's doing with that lighter. We know what she's
Happy
doing
anniversary.
with that lighter. Hell yeah.
Son of a bitch!
That's what I'm talking about. Boom. Hell yeah, guys. Thank y'all for hanging and banging here tonight. Yeah. Cammy's come through here. Thanks, guys. I don't care for cocaine. I just like the way it smells. Oh, Drew. Oh, shit. I've never in my life, dude. I couldn't imagine putting anything in my nose. It just is so freaky and weird to me. I cannot do it. I can't do it.
Just chilling.
Just chilling.
Respect my house.
Any other crazy ones on here? Yeah, there's a few other crazy ones. I've hit a lot of the murder ones. There's of course, a lot that aren't necessarily murder. Here's one that got me, and I love Scott Steiner now, but I know Scott Steiner's a crazy motherfucker now and loves steroids, so we know what steroids can do to somebody. Makes them go fucking crazy. Also makes their balls shrink. Scott Steiner might tout himself to be this genetic freak in the wrestling ring, but he's only a freak outside the ring as he has some of the craziest stories among anyone in wrestling and probably the craziest and most horrible criminal history ever. Whoa. All right, let's calm down. In 1998, we just talked about a lot of murderers. Scott Steiner has never murdered anybody, fella. This is still bad, though. Hold on. In 1998, in Georgia, Steiner got into an argument with State Department of Transportation employee Paul Kasperine after Kasperine had informed him that the exit ramp was closed. I can just see Scott Steiner now. It ain't fucking closed. You're going to open that shit for me right now. And he just cuts a promo on him. I'm the big bad booty daddy. This is Big Papa Pop. He threatened him before actually going on to hit him twice with his Ford F-250 pickup truck. Okay? He didn't get out and beat his ass. He didn't get out and give him a couple on the head. No! He hit this man with his fucking giant Ford F-250 pickup truck. But thankfully, this man also owns a Bob Evans, I believe it is. I think he owns a Bob Evans. He did own a Bob Evans. I think it was Bob Evans. Pretty sure. Which seems crazy. I would love to go to a Bob Evans. No, it wasn't Bob Evans. A Shoney's. Scott Steiner used to own a Shoney's. And I think it did go to business. It was the only Shoney's in America that served beer. But thankfully, Kasparine wasn't badly hurt. Steiner was later arrested and pleaded guilty for the crime as he made to serve 10 days in jail. Luckily, the dude wasn't hurt. While also being put under an 8-year probation order. Okay, that one stung maybe. And also having to pay some fine. I would love to see Scott Steiner doing community service on the side of the road. Holy shit. Steiner is quite the madman in real life with an insane crime story. Proves that. I don't know a lot of crazy ones about him, if I'm going to be honest. Like, now, Haku's a crazy motherfucker. This dude right here, known for doing some shit. Like, you would not want to fuck with this guy. He's known in wrestling as the most tough guy, like by wrestlers. Like, they say, don't fuck with this guy. Haku has many crazy stories to prove that he was probably the toughest wrestler ever, but not many could imagine that he had ever committed a crime because of how passionate he was about wrestling and providing for it. Haku was arrested once. Again, he's a cousin of The Rock. Haku was arrested once for committing the craziest crime ever, as he was in a bar at a Baltimore airport having drinks with a friend when a group of guys came and taunted them that wrestling was fake. Obviously offended with the remark, Haku would then take all of the 3 guys out by himself before going on to target the most vocal guy of the lot and biting a big chunk out of his nose right off his face. He was arrested later on when police arrived at the location. At this horrifying crime probably wasn't even expected, but from a tough guy like Haku. Yeah, he bit a dude's nose off. All right. He said, no, let's go. Let's go ahead. I'll take all 3 of you on. You know, all 3 are like, shit, we could take all 3 of us? Probably some. Haku, dude. Don't fuck with Haku. I think he owns a car lot in Florida now, if I'm not mistaken. I know way too much about professional wrestlers. Everybody, yeah, rock your body, yeah. Anyone watch Glow Women's Wrestling on Netflix? Is the best. I never watched that on Netflix, but I watched the 80s Glow, the original Glow. I've seen the old Glow, and I've heard that show on Netflix is dope, though. I should check it out. Okay, here we go. I snorted Adderall once, but I would never do coke. Ooh, no disrespect to anyone who has. I just don't need to be any more up. No, I get that. Yeah, there's no way. Let me get that down here a little bit. No way I could do freaking coke, man. There's no freaking way. I was in situations where it arose, and then, I did not do it. So, hold on. I'll try to get that. Maybe we'll do up top here. Be a little better. But, yeah, I was always like, man, that's too much. Sticking stuff in you, putting stuff up you, no. I'm good. We good. Hey, that's a good question, Pokemon. Does he attack human beings that say, you know what, I don't think we're filling this car? You don't say that to Haku. Let's see if I can find Haku selling a car. There's got to be a video of it. There's got to be something out here. I think he's in this.
Moss Car Spa. We are an all-rounded car spa featuring all areas of detail work.
I
have probably 400 hours of experience in this shop. 10 to 15 guys.
You're talking about.
Oh shit! It's me. It's Haku.
We have all kind of wash, cleaning. You're talking about regular car wash.
Car spa director.
The car.
It's Ming. That is Ming. He went by multiple names. In WCW he was Ming. In WWF he was Haku.
And also
one of the baddest motherfuckers ever.
Windows, windshield, and also the armor all on the tires.
The full detail process will require us to wash the vehicle, clean the car in, clean the seats.
Your water we're using.
We do take and been doing this for long, and we kind of understand what side.
Just imagine you fuck up at the job and you're one of these workers, and he's like, "Oh man, I fucked up this car."
This is what they work for. This is what they want. They want their customer to make sure they love our work. It doesn't matter if it's full detail or just a car wash. They treat every car the same.
That's awesome. Fucking Haku, bro. Ming chair. Watch it. Chair into splinters with a skull. Okay? What is happening? Wrestling's crazy, though. Wrestling is insane. That blew my mind a little bit just now. No, we cannot afford it. It's way too much. I don't even understand. That's an addiction I don't get, man. If you're addicted to coke, let's calm down. Let's back up a little bit. We need to maybe look at our lives a little bit here. No, he's like, nope, I'm good. Like, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing?
Watch this.
And watch. I mean, that isn't even. This was like here's another one. It's Dusty Rhodes. Cody's daddy here. He's got a wooden chair. It means like,
watch this.
Ain't the fucking chair, dude. Nothing. Didn't even phase him. Nothing.
Watch this.
Nothing. Eats wooden chairs for breakfast, dude. Haku's wild. He was one of my favorites. I like Haku. Yeah, he was a good one. He was one of the good ones. I believe there's even stories of like Andre the Giant. You know, Andre the Giant would not be fucking with Haku. You know, just one of those crazy ones. He's the one guy that nobody wanted to actually mess with. So, bit the nose off, dude. Bit it off. How bad do you need that spa? Do you imagine if it like they messed up and like you got it back in and you know that who that is? You're like, is that me? Is that Haku? Excuse me, sir. As soon as he turned around, I'd be like, oh, perfect. This is good service. I'll be back. This is the best service I've ever had. Don't worry about it. It's on me. It's actually on me. No, I didn't go into any Chris Benoit. I did slightly. I mentioned him, but I didn't go deep into Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit is a real dark one. Real dark one. That's real wood now. That dude's head is hard as it's crazy hard. I mean, the still chairs are real still chairs, guys. Like these wrestlers take a beating now. It's pretty wild. Tonight's been cool though. I just wanted to. WrestleMania's coming up, and I'm getting excited for it. And I was like, man, you know what? There's enough crazy true crime to kind of mix that in. So why not talk about some of that here tonight? Everybody that come out and hung out tonight, I really appreciate it. I'm not sure what's happening tomorrow. We'll see. Hopefully Dan will be ready to rock and roll for a Feral Friday. We'll see. I'll keep everybody updated through X, through the socials, and through YouTube, and through any chats that I'm in. So yeah, keep an eye out. Feral Friday, we'll do something. We finished Twin Peaks last week. Not sure what we'll do. We'll do something cool though. We will do something cool. Yeah, R.I.P. to Andre the Giant, one of the best of all time for sure. Let's see, am I missing anything? Nope. Don't believe I am. Yeah, tomorrow night. Just keep your eyes on everything. 9 p.m. Eastern time. Should start the show here on YouTube, per usual, and then we'll chill out for a little bit, probably 30 minutes or so, and then we'll jump over to Kick and probably do some illegal shit. Quite frankly, probably do some illegal shit. Rope. We'll watch an Alfred Hitchcock film called Rope. That is a good movie. I think Rope is the one I was trying to think about the other night with Chris, dude. I think that's the one. I think that's one of my favorite ones. Maybe not. I think I got confused the other night actually thinking about that. My favorite one is like these. It's set in like just one room is what it's set in. It's set in like an apartment, and they've invited a teacher to come over and hang out. Like a bunch of students have invited a teacher to come over to have like a party with them somehow. Nothing crazy, but just to come over and have like a social type deal. I believe they're in college as well. I don't remember exactly what they're studying, but this teacher there was some kind of morbid curiosity going on with the conversation in class, essentially. And I don't remember the exact details, but basically, I believe he was basically making, I don't know if he's making the assumption during class that you know, the story, I don't know how it got to be, but basically the students took it upon themselves to really do what they were talking about in the class, which was have a party, all right, with a dead body in the room, which is inside of a casket or inside of a box. And in this case, they took that, they've really killed somebody, these students, 2 students in particular, invited all their friends, including the teacher, okay? So there's a dead body inside of this box, casket, table, because they make it into like a dining table. They cover it up and they put all the drinks and food on it for the evening on there. And yeah, they invite him over and they're all dining around this dead body. And these 2 people, basically it's morbid because they know about it, right? Like I forget the exact details of this. And I don't remember the exact name of the movie, which it really fucks with me because it's so good. It's so fucking good. And it's early. Like it's fucking early. Hold on. I'm going to find it right now. I got a minute here. If you guys want to chill for a second here. Hold on. I'm going to find this movie because this movie's so good. And if you guys aren't into Hitchcock or haven't ever went down these Hitchcock roads, man, they're so deep. Like, I mean, I can get lost in film. Like, Rear Window's fucking amazing. Dial M for Murder is fucking amazing. Rope. I feel like it's Rope, but I think James Stewart's in it. 2 men attempt to prove they... yes, this is it! 2 men attempt to prove they committed the perfect crime by hosting a dinner party after strangling their former classmate to death. Dude, this movie...
Wait till after you graduate.
I don't.
...is so fucking good, guys. Like, this movie, it just... It doesn't stop. It's in one room. There isn't a lot of... There's, like, no action. It's just fucking story. But... this dead body that you see the setup, you see everybody come in, you don't know what's going on. Storyline. Brandon and Philip are 2 young men who share a New York City apartment. They consider themselves intellectually superior to their friend David Kentley and as a consequence decide to murder him. Together they strangle David with a rope and placing the body in an old chest would have been a good word to use earlier. They proceed to hold a small party. The guests include David's father, his fiancée Janet, and their old school teacher Rupert, from whom they mistakenly took their ideas. As Brandon becomes in their old school teacher Rupert, from whom they mistakenly take their ideas. As Brandon becomes increasingly more daring, Rupert begins to suspect. Yeah, they start dropping these hints during the party, right? And that teacher starts to catch on, like, what the fuck's going on here? And dude, the tension in this is so fucking good, bro. Like, oh man, it's so good. Maybe we will watch this tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe I'm myself up now. I don't know if I could hold everybody will be down for something like that. Because that's old, bro. That's 1948. Like, it's fucking fire though, man. Old movies. Like, they don't make shit like that anymore. Yes! Filmed in one take. I didn't even know that. It's crazy if that's true. Holy shit, CH. Wow. Hey, you never know how fucking illegal we'll get up in here, Holly Berry. Never fucking know. And Missy's going to be doing a little RuPaul pregame over on Kick as well, so keep an eye out for that. Put your link in here also, Missy. Yes, dude, that movie's so... Fuck, man. Oh, wow, yeah. See, a lot of people don't like them, dude. I mean, a lot of people don't like old film. A lot of people don't like anything past, 2000s. I don't know how many people I'll talk to that can't do old stuff. I can't get into new stuff. I like some new stuff, but I can't get into a lot of new stuff because I can't get through all the old stuff. There's so many old fucking movies and TV shows that are absolutely fucking magical and perfect. And Alfred Hitchcock's entire catalog is basically that, quite frankly. But no, you're allowed to, you can do it. You can do it. Nah, man, I know it. I know it's hard. Rear Window is absolutely fucking amazing. I have a Rear Window poster right over here next to me. I'm a big fucking movie freak, actually. You guys probably can tell. It'll happen. We'll see what we're going to do tomorrow. I'll fill it out. We'll do something fun, I'm sure. Dude, old stuff's so good, Cammy. Man, I can't get I mean, I love new stuff. There's tons of new stuff. I don't see a lot of it. The new movie come out, and I think I was talking here about it, the Late Night with the Devil. That looks fucking insane. That looks incredible. Have you guys seen that trailer? I don't think I can play trailers, right? Maybe we'll talk over it also while we watch it. This movie looks nuts. I think it comes on Shudder. I think 4/19, one day before 4/20, which is fucking perfect. Look at this shit. This shit looks actually fucking good. Like, legit. Oh, man, Kubert. Yes. Original Body Snatchers. Yes. Classic, bro. I'm a 60s, 70s. But I go deeper, bro. Like, I like some silent films. Like, I'm fucked up in my head.
Now, here's Mr. Midnight, Jack Darrow.
Oh, good evening, Night Owls, and thank you for allowing me into your living rooms once again. Well, Night Owls, we've got a heck of a show in store for you tonight, and I'm very excited for you to see it all unfold before your very eyes. I really hope you love it. Gosh, I hope you love it. Please love it. Love it. I'm trying to host a nationally syndicated talk show, and I'm trying to help you keep it on the air. We all know how important it is to keep our sponsors and affiliates happy, but in my humble opinion, there is only one person who really matters in this whole darn crazy business. And that is you, our viewer.
You're meddling with things you don't understand.
Whoa! Now, as you know, here on Night Owls, we think it's very important to keep an open mind. Please welcome Dr. June Ross Mitchell and Lily, the young subject of the book.
I love this. I love the. It's on an old late night television show, right? It's on Halloween. They're trying to shock their audience with something evil, with something crazy.
With the devil.
I really don't think it's a good idea, Jack. She's becoming more unpredictable.
That's a good thing. That's why we still do live TV. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for a live television first as we attempt to commune with the devil.
This looks fucking good, bro. Like.
Lily, can you hear me?
Good to see you again, Jack.
Lily, return to me.
This isn't about ratings anymore.
No one's going anywhere.
How could you let it happen, Jack? How could you let it happen?
Please be warned, anyone with young children in the room.
Go to commercial! Go to commercial!
What you're about to see.
You okay, Jack?
Is profoundly disturbing and shocking.
You get out there, Mr. Midnight. And you knock him dead.
That look fucking good as shit. Dude, I want to watch that real fucking bad. So that's on my radar as a new film. I don't know if you guys saw X. Did you guys see the movie X? X is probably my new favorite movie, and there's the third part of that's about to come up. So there's X the movie, not X the site. So X the movie is set in the 70s, and it's basically these, you know, young adults are they're trying to find a place to shoot a porno. Okay, they find an old barn, an old farm, and somebody lives on this farm, and they've contracted this out to use. They didn't tell them what this was for, though. Okay, so they're just there to, you know, and even when they show up in this van, you know, and he goes and knocks on the door, the guy that opens it, who's this older gentleman, basically was like, he's like, how many people you got there? And he's like, oh, you know, just some, you know, we got some friends with us too. He's like, well, you didn't really tell me about that. So he's already annoyed out the gate. And they're shooting a fucking porno in this little cabin that they've rented on this farmland. And yeah, it's fucking nuts. Yeah, I'll show you the trailer of that one. This one's crazy. This one's wild. Part 2 to this is a completely different style of film. Like the three movies, the lead actress is all played by the same chick who plays different parts. Like it's pretty unique. Like it's pretty cool. And this has that one chick in it before she started blowing up. Right as she started blowing up, actually, that our Tega chick.
Farmer's daughter, take one. I need to be famous, Wayne. All the best people
is the main chick that plays the younger girl in the porno in this. She's the main girl in this one. Pearl, the older lady in this, is the wife of the gentleman that owns the farm. As you can kind of imagine what's already happening here with Pearl. Part 2 of this film is called Pearl. And what you do, and what Pearl is about, is the younger lady. It's the young version of that old lady that you just seen when she was young, living on this farm. And what did she want to do? She wanted to be a star. She wanted to get off this farm. That old lady is then played by the same girl on this property and take care of her dying family. Huh? Her dying father. She couldn't go off and become a star in Hollywood. And then in the 70s, you have coming on their farmland making a porno. These kids who have it easy. And then, so we ain't even got here yet, Maxine. This is the one coming. This is the one coming. We got Maxine coming, baby. I'm so excited. This one's set in the 80s. This is after the porno. So I don't want to ruin anything, but the girl from X is going to still try to make it in Hollywood and just getting past the porno a little bit here. Let's see what's happening. This dude has done so far with the fucking decades has been magical. Like, he's captured it. So that X movie captures the vibe of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre like something crazy. Like, the way they've captured that feel, that actual 70s vibe is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It is coming. Yes. All right, yeah, tomorrow night we're going to be doing something. We'll watch something. Maybe we'll watch one of these movies. I don't fucking know. Huh? Somebody going to be able to handle that? What do we watch tomorrow? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully Dan will be able to come and hang and bang with us as well.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
Huh?
Dan's a fantastic man.
Dan's a fantastic man. But yes, come hang out tomorrow. We'll do some things. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 is fucking awesome. Yeah, probably the greatest sequel of all time. Quite honestly. I mean, and I love the original. But Part 2, Dennis Hopper. Something special happened there, y'all. So, yeah. Fucking Chop Top in that one. No, Part 2 is awesome. Part 2 is really good, Holly Berry. It is, dude. See, you gotta watch them all, though. You gotta get in there. You gotta watch them all, Stevie. But yeah, that was fire. So, yeah, I'm probably gonna take this stream down. I'm honestly, seriously, that one's definitely gonna get hit with all those, with at least the last song. The other ones might be chopped up enough, but that one was just straight playing. So, but tomorrow night I will see you all on here at 9 p.m. here first, and we'll jump over to Kick. We'll figure out what's going on. Keep eyes on socials. Love you guys. Let's go into Friday. We kicked another week's ass. Let's kick the weekend's ass, and let's go.
Pittsburgh.